quarterbacks. Now, Dak has played more mistake-free football than almost anyone in the league.
Right.
But actually, if you ask me, and it's way too early to tell who's going to be better, they both look really good. If you ask me, who's more explosive? Who do you fear more for a big play? To tell you the truth, my eyeball test so far says Carson Wentz. That's the guy I think gives me the sense that he could put points on the board.
Hey,
fast.
friends, Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and forgive me, I'm still a little bit under the weather here, and hopefully this cold will go away soon. But hell or high water, I'm going to make sure I talk about the Dallas Cowboys versus the Eagles, because this only happens twice a year. And I want to thank you guys for subscribing and being part of the Joe Boo Report. It's growing like crazy, and I just love all the comments and everything else. So I'm still trying to learn exactly how to do the channel, and I've been looking around at some other people and their videos and things. I've seen EDP, and believe me, I don't want to be anything like that, because he'll be bragging about his team one minute, the next minute he'll be cussing them out and throwing them out the bus. But the one thing I always like to try and do is I don't just pull stuff out my ass and tell it to you, or I don't just go to ESPN and just regurgitate what they have, because a lot of times the narrative they have is way off. I try and give you reasons behind my assumption of what's going on and try and base it on fact. Now, I was come across this guy, Neo Freak, who's an Eagles fan, who basically says that Dak Prescott doesn't have to do anything, that he's just a dink-and-dunk quarterback, and that he, in fact, behind our Cowboy offensive line, could end up completing 2 passes. But let's let the tape go ahead and speak for itself. Let's go to that right now.
Want to fucking annoy me every single week and say that Dak Prescott's a better quarterback. No, the fuck he isn't. All right, I'm gonna put this to rest right now. Put me behind that offensive line. Put me personally behind that offensive line. I can dink and dunk 2 passes and complete them, and I would put any money on that. That's how good and solid your offensive line is. All right. Am I saying Dak Prescott is a bad quarterback? No. He's a good quarterback. But he's not what you guys are hyping him up to be. He's not. He hasn't completed many long passes. Now, a lot of people are saying that, he has a lot of precision, he has a lot of poison in the pocket, whatever. The thing with Dak Prescott is he doesn't need to do much. Like I just said, he's a dink and dunk quarterback. Carson Wentz threw sharp passes with precision. Has he made some dumb bonehead plays? Absolutely.
Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to dispel all of these rumors that you hear from, not only from him, but also guys like Max Ketterman on First Take and stuff, that just say that, Carson Wentz is, more explosive than Dak Prescott. Well, the interesting thing is, let's go ahead and look at the charts over here. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and move to the other set. That way we can go through the numbers, and I'll show you exactly a comparison of the 2 quarterbacks.
Okay, let's look at this objectively. Just go straight by the numbers. First, we have Carson Wentz's numbers, and what you'll notice is, they've had the same amount of games, 6, and that Carson Wentz has thrown 185 passes with a 63.8% completion rate, basically 31 passes a game for 7.2 yards per completion and 220 yards a game. That's not bad. That's, for a rookie quarterback, those are fantastic numbers. And you can't argue with that. Clearly he must be head and shoulders above Dak Prescott. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at Dak Prescott's numbers. And lo and behold, he's right. Carson Wentz did throw a whole lot more passes than Dak Prescott, 3. But what's interesting is Dak's completion percentage is actually 68.7, 5 points higher. And his average per game, wow, almost exactly the same, a half pass less than Carson Wentz. But he has 1,486 yards, more yardage than Carson Wentz has, and an 8.2 average per completion. A whole yard further downfield than Carson Wentz, lo and behold, and 7 TDs versus the 8 that Carson Wentz had. But on top of it, when we talk about a bigger threat, Dak also has 3 rushing touchdowns. Now, the other thing I want to bring up is last week, Carson Wentz now has 3 interceptions to Dak's 1, but he also had 3 fumbles in that game against Minnesota, one of which ended up going to the Vikings. Now, that's turning the ball over a little bit more. So, by that number in comparison, that's not that big a deal. Okay, so let's look at something else. Neo Freak said that basically we haven't played anybody. Now, in our 6 games, we played the Packers, 7th rated defense, the Bears, 12th rated, Bengals, 15th, Giants, 19th, the Redskins, 20th, and the 49ers, 30th. Okay, if we add up and find out an average for the defenses that we played, it comes out to around 17th. So we've averaged playing the 17th ranked defense each week, week in and week out. Now let's compare this with the Eagles, who played the number 1 ranked Vikings, the Redskins at 20 that we both played, the Detroit Lions at 25th, Pittsburgh at 27th, the Browns at 31st, and the Bears, which we also played, at 12th. Interestingly enough, if you divide that out and come out with an average, in comparison, that's the 19th ranked defense per average per game. So when you say that the Dallas Cowboys haven't played anybody, fact of the matter is, on average, the Eagles really haven't played anybody any tougher other than that one game being the Minnesota Vikings. And when you look at the Washington Redskins, who are not that great as far as running the ball, your defense is terrible. But we're not talking about defense right now. We're actually just talking about the offense. I just wanted to throw that little other dig in here before I get to the defense on another video. So when you go through and we talk about these guys, Dak Prescott is throwing for 30 yards more per game. Is throwing for an extra yard per average per completion, and has less turnovers. So your whole argument, Neo Freak, is, sorry, doesn't hold water. Not when you go by the numbers. So I'm looking for Dak Prescott to continue doing what he's doing. Oh, actually, let's go to one other thing that I want to share with you guys. Let's take a look at Dak's stats here as far as how it's gone so far this season. Clearly, his first game, his QBR was 69. Can we see that actually in there? Was 69.4. But he steadily improved and got better as the season has gone on. And when you see what he had against the Packers, 117.4, and that was a team that supposedly could stop the run. Now, let's go to Carson Wentz. On the other hand, his big game was against the Steelers. Fantastic game. But since that time, his numbers have steadily declined. He went from 300 yards, 238, 179, 138. And that's a trend, I hate to say it, that may be continuing. That he started off hot and started getting cold, where Dak has started off kind of cold and has been getting better each and each week. Now, of course, it's football. Things change on a weekly basis, so who knows how these are going to end up. But I look for the trends, and I look for the numbers to go ahead and prove my argument. Neo Freak, it's on you to prove yours. I'm Mark Holmes. That's Cowboy Joe Boo over there on the other set, and I want to thank you for being part of the Joe Boo Report. And I've got some more of those shirts that are actually headed out the door, so be looking for them, hopefully, before the game on Sunday. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.